Camera's rolling. Camera's rolling. And hold on. I need a sip. Okay, that's pretty good. Not the worst. Not the best, but I need some caffeine. So it's just me today. I'll play crickets, in the background. We can't be... Ella, we can't be barking on set, ma'am. She gives two fucks about what I have to say. Okay, so as you guys can see, today I have a different microphone. Because Seth is not here and he took his laptop with him, and that's the laptop we used to set up the microphones. Child, don't lick my coffee. Now, if you're wondering why... That's it. We're going outside. Do you want... Oh, I know why, guys. I know why the child is barking. Oh my god, if it's not one dog, it's the other. Seth is out of town, but we got to put out an episode for y'all. So, I thought it'd be fun. Yes, I can ramble about anything and everything, but to make it fun, to make it juicy, to make some good chismecito today, I decided to reach out to some friends and family about a bad first date or a bad date in general or an awkward experience. And y'all came through with some pretty good stories. Got my handy dandy iPad with me. Obviously, all of these stories are going to be anonymous. I'm not going to say names, and if there's names, I'm going to change them up because I don't know who's watching. So let's do this shit. I'm so excited. Y'all don't understand. Okay. Let's see. Make sure my mom doesn't call me or anything because I have my iPad and my phone on Do Not Disturb. Let's take a sip of this coffee real quick. This is my first time making coffee with almond milk. It's pretty good. Okay. Now, let's see. Oh, I hope I like the background, by the way. This is one of our shelves, so I just thought it'd be fun to switch it up. Why not? Okay, so grab your snack, grab your coffee, play me in the background, and let's just listen to these. Okay. Here's a story about a first date that went a bit sideways. By the way, I'm reading these how y'all sent them to me. It was a Friday night, and I was really excited about this date I had set up with Sarah. We'd been chatting online for a few weeks, and everything seemed to click. We decided to meet at a new Italian place downtown. I got there early, picked out a nice table, and ordered a drink. When she arrived, she looked even better than her pictures. We started with some small talk, but then things started to go downhill. Oh shit, well at least you weren't getting catfish. First, she spent a solid 15 minutes talking about her cat, Mr. Whiskers, and how he was the center of her universe. I love cats, but I felt like I was at a cat convention. Interesting. Then she proceeded to tell me in an excruciating detail about her recent dental work, including the color of the temporary crowns. Gross. I tried to change the subject, but she kept steering the conversation back to her teeth. As the night went on, it became clear that we had absolutely nothing in common. She hated all the music I liked, and she kept interrupting me to correct my grammar. That's tough, buddy. To top it off, she spilled red sauce all over her white dress. I tried to be a good sport, but by the end of the night, I was just counting down the minutes until I could go home. And guess what, guys? This date was my Snapchat AI's first date. Her name is Firulais. I just thought it'd be funny to ask AI, like, hey, give me your first bad date. And this is what it came up with. Honestly, that's pretty good. Okay. But now we're about to get into, like, real dates. Like, So. Oh. Not the napkin, brother. Okay. Here's my awkward date story. Okay, so I went on a super awkward hangout, maybe fall of last year. This guy and I, hold on. Take two. Okay, so now we're getting into the real deal. Here's my awkward date story. Okay, so I went on a super awkward hangout, maybe fall of last year. This guy and I knew each other through mutual friends, so I agreed that he could pick me up. Immediate red flag. He did not get any doors from me the whole time. That's the bare minimum, especially if a guy is inviting you out somewhere. I agree. That is the bare minimum, girl. We went to eat at this ramen place and I paid for my food and so did he. I was not expecting him to pay, but right after that I took it more like a hangout for sure. We really didn't have much in common. It was super awkward. He was also on his phone a lot, but hey, at least the ramen place was good. Kudos to you for seeing the bright side in this whole thing. After we ate, we got dessert and he paid for our crumble cookies. We were both gonna get our own, but he insisted in getting both of ours, so I let him. All you, boo, you could pay for the cookies. We ended up eating them in his car in the parking lot, and he kept asking if he could go back to my apartment and watch a movie. I told him no, I was pretty tired, maybe next time. Yes. He then drops me off home, gets out of the car to hug me, and tells me how much fun he had. He gets home, oh, he gets home, Snapchats me, asking me if it was a date. Oh. LOL, so he wanted me to decide that part and and for that reason. Oh, and that the reason why he was on his phone was to write all the things he had learned about me. Then says we should do it again sometime. After that, I definitely did not see anything going any further. A few days later, I realized he was Snapchatting one of my close friends, and she thought he was cute, so I told her, go for it. I didn't see him more than a friend. 2 weeks later, one of our mutual friends tells me that he was spreading a rumor to his sports org. I think I read that correctly. That my friend, the one, and then it says in parentheses, the one that thought he was cute and I apparently liked him so much. They also mentioned that it was hard on him to decide on the three girls he had been Snapchatting. And then, again in parentheses, definitely don't use Snapchat anymore. Red flag if a guy's asking for. Red flag if a guy is asking you now to talk nowadays. Oh my gosh, girl. First of all, thank you for sharing this with us. Um, I think this was probably like a few months ago. I went to a bar, and this is my story. He was super respectful. He comes up to me, introduces himself, and he's like, hey, like, I thought you were really cute. Can I get your snap? Why are you asking for my snap? Now, I know this could be controversial because some people don't like to give out their phone numbers. But if you're using Snap, personally, I don't text in it. I just use it to snap pictures with my friends. With my friends back and forth. At least my Instagram. I don't know. Um, but wow, you definitely dodged one there. Let's see what stood out to me about this one. Not opening the door? Come on, y'all. Really? And then I think one thing I've always said, and I think this applies to both. Me personally, if I were to ask a guy out on a date, I would pay for him because I want to hang out with you and spend that time with you, especially if my intention is to ask you on a date. Same goes for the guy. If you're asking a girl on a date, I would say pay for her. Now, it doesn't have to be anything expensive because, you know, in this economy, but really, that's just my opinion. But again, aw, pobrecito. Not him having a hard time choosing between three girls. F boy. No. Work on yourself, dude. Something. Okay, here's our next story. My bad date was a Tinder date. I had invited the person to come hang out, so mind you, I'm a freshman in college, so she met me at the dorms. We then decided to go get food, and naturally, we chose Chick-fil-A. That's a good choice, I would say. So we went to go get the food and came back and watched a movie. We finished the movie and things got frisky, and so we did the deed. It was all right. That's crazy. Okay, at least they went and got food, guys. Nor my favorite experience, but that isn't even the crazy part of the story. Months later, I am moving into a new house with my friend, and we were looking for a new roommate. And my roommate had a guy coming to see the house. He came inside and said hello and asked if his girlfriend could come in. And if I'll be damned, the same girl from months earlier walked in. Let's just say the guy was never roommate. Bro, he should have stayed for the plot. That's funny. That sounds like an interesting Tinder date. I mean, y'all hooked up, y'all got some food, watched a movie. Thank you for sharing. Okay. Here we are, going on to our next one. Okay, so this first story is going to be pretty short. By the way, this person gave me 2 dates, so thank you. Um, I don't know if it was awkward or not because I mean, I continued to go on more dates with this person, but that first date, I do remember it being a little bit awkward. I think that's fair. I think a lot of first dates tend to be a little awkward because, like you're trying to figure out the vibe and stuff. I don't know. Maybe some people hit it off right away and skip the awkward phase. Okay. But I do remember it being a little bit awkward because it was still in that phase, like, are we friends? And is this a hangout? Or are we like trying to push it into something more than friends? Anyway, something that I should have noted, but I didn't since, I kept going out with this guy, was that I don't mind driving. But for a first date, I think either the guy should go pick up the girl or you both agree to meet in the place. I think that's pretty valid. I mean, why not? Um, well, for this day, I went to go pick him up at his house and drove him to the place and then drove him back to his house. Yeah, we went to go get like coffee and I think some sandwiches. I don't remember exactly, but I do remember that the first date I paid for everything. And I don't mind paying it at all, but it was like, bro, you're the one that invited me on the first date. You pay, but no. I mean, the conversation with normal. Okay, hold on, because I'm reading this like they sent it to me. Hold on. Okay, so it wasn't okay. You pay, but no. I mean, the conversation was normal. Like I said, we were friends, so it wasn't awkward. But it was more like the uncomfortable feeling of like, what are we doing right now? Are we hanging out or are we trying something new out? But yeah, I know that the first experience was definitely little, I guess, awkward first date. Okay. Oh, you do mention at the beginning of your story, I use audio. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. When you use audio to type out your messages, there's definitely some misspelling in there. But I mean, that makes sense. I feel like in this case, it was just more of trying to figure out like, hey, can we be something more? Just exploring the option. But again, if you're inviting someone and your intentions are to go on a date, if you're the one initiating that first, why not invite them? I think so. Okay, now the second story for this person. Okay, so story number 2. These are the only 2 stories that I could remember. I've gone on more first dates, but I guess they weren't memorable enough. Excuse me. So, second story is also kind of short. It's about the first date that I went on after I had broken up with my first boyfriend. It was a fun overall day, but you could feel it was awkward. Like the conversation wouldn't really like flow. He did pick me up at the university and I accidentally let him on the wrong side of the road and it was a little freak out. But I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry." Like, "Oh no, we're fine." But not yet. It was definitely a weird experience. It was understandable as to why it could have been awkward since it was my first date after having my boyfriend. But we didn't end up continuing to talk after. That great guy. I wish him the best, but nothing surge from that first date. Okay, I think I understand what you were trying to say here. It wasn't gonna go past the first one. I mean, it's fair. I mean, you're putting yourself out there again. You just got out of a relationship. But dude, why are you leading this poor guy on the wrong side of the road? Yeah, no. After that, he'd be like, I value my life. I value my life. Thank you for sharing those 2 awkward dates. Next. Okay, I'm excited for this one. Not like ooh, oh my god. It's just like, are you serious type of thing. Stay with me. Okay. Well, my story's a little long, but I don't know if y'all remember that my first kiss had a girlfriend and he wanted an open relationship. We were texting this in the group chat. That's why it is mentioned, if you guys remember. Okay. So that my first kiss had a girlfriend and wanted an open relationship. Well, whatever. We never dated and I blew him off because I was like, what the fuck? I agree. What the fuck? So then I met this guy, really handsome. He was like 6 years older. I'm just kidding. 6 years older than me, and he was a real gentleman. He picked me up and gave me flowers, and all well, we got. Y'all are testing my English right now. Okay, and all went well. We got to the restaurant, and then everything was going good until he said that he was in an open relationship. And as he says that, his girlfriend walks in. What the fuck? Okay. And I was like, WTF, there's no way that this is happening to me again. Not the again. So thankfully my sister was not working and I called her and asked her to come pick me up and I blocked both of them. I guess it was a thing with them because neither had each other in their Instas and I was like, wow. Well, later on, I was on Tinder and I found their profile and it was like, we're looking for a third person and I was like, hell nah. Say you do you in your relationship, but I think in a situation like this where you're in an open relationship, I think it's important to mention details like that. Especially, I could just imagine you, dude, sitting on that table with him, like, oh, you're like, I'm on this date with this cute guy, about to know him. You look to your left or to your right, and you see the girlfriend come in. Either you're like, holy shit, this guy is cheating, or holy shit, well, oh my god, no. Oh, I'm sorry that happened. Men, women, if you're in an open relationship and looking for that third special someone, just bring it up, okay? Don't. That's not something for the first date. That's something you bring up prior to going on your first date. Thank you for sharing. Okay, this date, oh my god, when they sent me this date, it's very short and sweet. It was a regular day. I picked her up. We went to the mall and we went to pick up a mini donut. But I guess she wanted me to kiss her because she told me, do I have something in my lips? And she closes her eyes and it was funny. I just gave her a small kiss. Thank you for that story. Have y'all ever done that? Like when you're about to kiss someone, like if it's on your first date, like, hey, do I have something on my teeth? Do I have something on my lips? I get it if y'all have been together for a bit, or I do that with friends, like when I'm out and I'm like, hey, do I have anything? But if it's your first date and your intention is to kiss them, are you doing that? Are you being like, tengo algo en los dientes? That's funny. Thank you for sharing your story. Okay. This one, y'all. When I read it, my heart, like, actually, because this person's really close to me, and I was like, shitty people, I swear. Here we go. So at first, this person was telling me, I don't have a story. I'm like, I know you do. I know you do. And they did. They gave me one. So I went to Cattleman's Steakhouse for mine, and Blank's, what should we call this person? Let's call him Chad. Okay. I went to Cattleman's Steakhouse for mine and Chad's grandma's birthday dinner thing, and I got called fat by the friend of the grandma because I didn't know what to order, so they ordered me a tiny 4-ounce steak and a loaded potato on the side. What the fuck? The friend of the grandma was talking about how tiny it was and laughing at the fact that they ordered me that. And she said, I know you eat, oh, so it's in quotations. I know you eat, stop acting like you have a small stomach. Who says that? Like, what? You're at a dinner, dude. And that, oh, anyways. I already had a hard time eating in front of people in general because I was bullied for it throughout high school. And so that experience was just really bad. I stayed quiet and was just hoping we will leave soon. I would have smacked that person. My Siri keeps going off. Sorry. Okay. So, and then basically this story ends with I had like a weird theory that the old lady had a crush on him because she was very touchy with him too. First of all, what has to go through your mind to make comments like that? Out of pocket comments, especially with someone you don't really know. And you shouldn't be doing that in general because you don't really know that person. Second of all, okay, grandma, I see you trying to get some with the high schooler. What the fuck is like, what? No. That is a very uncomfortable date outing because, no. Again, thank you so much for sharing. Okay. Sorry, I'm getting a little too comfy. Each time I'm like slouching more and more. Maybe I should sit up. I swear I have good posture. Okay. Okay. Let's see. Next story. Wait, hold on. I'm just going to take a little break. It's crazy because these are people I know, and learning about these dates, like, yes, I knew about some of them, but others I'm like, when did this happen? So again, this has been really interesting and fun getting to read and just, it's different for everyone. Everyone experiences something completely different. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I don't think I've ever experienced a date where I'm like, I want to get out of here. I'll give y'all my date with Seth at the end of this. Next one. Okay. This person also gave me two stories. So I went on this first date with the guy who said he was going to cook Puerto Rican food for me. Yummy. I was excited. I thought it was sweet and thoughtful, and I love Puerto Rican food. I didn't eat all day, so I'd have a full appetite. I show up to his place, and nothing. No food, not even the smell of food. I'm thinking, okay, maybe it's still in the stove. I love the positive attitude, girl. Nope. He then offers me a blunt, and I don't even smoke. I politely decline and ask, so are you still planning to cook? No. And he goes, oh, sorry, I didn't have time. Excuse me? That's what it says. That was literally the entire point of this date. I had to text my friend to fake an emergency so she could call me. As soon as she did, I said, sorry, I have to go, and left immediately. I was starving, so I picked up Whataburger, went to my friend's house, parentheses, the one who called me, and never spoke to that man again. Why do you do that? Dude, you literally, like, you stood up that person in person. Like, you invite them over, you say you're gonna cook a meal, and like a blunt? Are you kidding? You couldn't even. Sure. Translate into which language? Like, dude, you couldn't even like order takeout and be like, hey, you know what? I got caught up doing stuff. Maybe can we go out to eat, or can we order takeout? I don't know. There's so many things this boy could have done. You dodged one, girly. Okay. Second story. I once went on a date with a soldier from England. Ooh, international. He was super handsome, super charming. It wasn't a bad date, just interesting. He took me to Olive Garden, which I was fine with because I love Italian food, and honestly, where I live, there aren't a ton of options anyway. As soon as I got out of the car and he saw me, he said, oh God, thank God you look like your Instagram. Oh, my Siri keeps going off. I'm so sorry. Hey, no. Hold on, y'all. My childs are barking. Okay, do you guys want to go outside? Let's go outside. Mo, come on. Mo. Outside. Mo, let's go. Mo, Mo, go outside. Okay, so this was the second story this person sent me. So I once went on a date with a soldier from England. Ooh. He was super handsome, super charming. It wasn't a bad date, just interesting. He took me to Olive Garden, which I was fine with because I love Italian food and honestly where I live there aren't a ton of options anyway. As soon as I got out of the car and he saw me, he said, "Oh God, thank God you look like your Instagram photos." I was scared I was getting catfished. By the way, this person, she's beautiful. Catfishing, never. Anyways, and then she said, I just laughed. What a way to start a date. I agree. No, hey, hi, nice to meet you. Nada. Oh, good thing you're not catfishing me. Okay. Then we sit down, and the poor server couldn't understand a word he was saying because of his thick British accent. I ended up translating everything he ordered, which made the whole thing even more hilarious. He was really sweet, but the chemistry just wasn't there. We didn't click romantically, but we actually stayed friends, so I'd call that a win. Oh, that's nice. I mean, at least y'all were honest with each other from the very beginning. Ew, Mo. I think that's the whole point of first dates, getting to know each other and hopefully get a good laugh out of it. Thank you so much for sharing this. Next story. So this person gave me three, I think three. I don't know. They broke it up into a lot of pieces. I'm pretty sure it's 3 different dates. Okay. The first one. Okay. I mean, I took her out to eat and I hugged her, but she had like a funky smell. But I gave her the benefit of the doubt. But then after we finished at Top Golf, I realized that the smell was coming from her. And after that, I never spoke to her again. That's all I was given on this story. Um, I think that's probably, oh, not anymore. That was probably one of my fears. Like, what if I had stinky breath, dude? I would, like, if I knew I was going, and honestly, this is in general, this is not even dates. But if I know I'm going somewhere, like a public space, or I'm gonna be hanging out with friends, I try to be very conscious of what I'm gonna eat because some things, yeah, I sound like a señora. Some things cause me indigestion, some things cause me heartburn, some things just make me burp a lot. Like right now, I'm alone and I have coffee. I don't know why coffee makes me burp, but dang, dude. Hopefully, maybe she just forgot to put on deodorant or she just has a very strong pH. It could have been many things. Okay.
Get that. Could you try again?
Okay.
Okay, let me know if there's anything else I can help you with.
Now, the second story. And the other one was just really boring and rude. And she was low-key racist. I don't know what was meant by that. In the beginning, before I started to get to know her, she was all I could think of. Aww. But then once we started hanging out more, then I saw who she really was. She also let her BFF all drunk at a club, like by herself at her birthday party. Looking back, I'm like, what did I even see in her? But she was really toxic. What the heck? Dude, dang. Well, you know what? You knew your worth and I'm glad you didn't go for like appearances, I think it's important. That's what for me makes someone so attractive, their personality. You can be freaking Michael B. Jordan, but if your personality is shit, I'm done. Like I'm done. Um like obviously to me Seth is the most handsome man I've ever laid eyes on besides Michael B. Jordan. But it's okay because he would say Sydney Sweeney and Megan Fox. So, anyways, um, but I promise if what makes him even more handsome and just so attractive is his personality. He's just so caring and loving and attentive and smart, and I could go on and on raving about this man, but that's genuinely what made me so attracted to him to begin with, like, está guapo y todo el pedo. But once I got to know even more of him, I was like, this is the one. This is the one. And he was like that since the very first moment. Yeah, I'll tell y'all how we met. But you know what, dude? Good for you, because that's not a woman. That's not a woman, because if she has a shitty personality, no. No. Okay. Now, the third story. And also, this other girl that I went out with started cussing at me. This is in Spanish. ¿De quién es este pelo? Whose hair is this? ¿Cuál pupu tenías aquí? I'm not going to say that word because it's too aggressive. Because she found a strand of her in my car, but the hair was from our cousin. Bro, that's crazy. So this girl finds a strand of hair. Girl, and it turns out it was a cousin's hair, a cousin's piece of hair. Because, like, family came over and stuff. Okay. And I gave them a ride in my car because I told them it has sport mode. So we were just driving around with the windows down, and our cousin was in the passenger seat, and that one piece of hair fell on the cup holder. Turns out that girl is the niece of one of my aunt's friends. Oh my god. And you guys weren't even dating? This was just like talking? She probably carries like a little magnifying glass with her. Dude, what the heck? What's up with these dates? You're a good man. And a very smart man. What the fuck, dude? You can't... What's up with these dates? We are slowly approaching the end of my storytelling. Also, hopefully I'm not reading these in like a very boring way. This is my first time doing something like this. So just bear with me. But I thought this would have been fun. Okay, I like this. This is a good chunky story. Let's do this. I met this guy online and he asked me on a date. And although I hadn't met him before, I decided to give him a chance. But I told my friends to come with me because I was scared he was going to be a serial killer or something like that. That's valid. That's valid. He asked me out to Menchie's, and so my friends and I showed up to the date 30 minutes earlier so they could get some Menchie's and wait for me in the car. And so they got everything parked in a strategic place and waited. I love this. I love this friend group already. Okay. When this guy showed up, he seemed nice, and he was the same guy as in his Insta profile, so that was a plus. He wasn't catfishing or anything like that. My freaking Siri keeps going off. Okay. However, he was super nervous, which was fine, but the date was super awkward. He wouldn't really talk at all and wouldn't continue the conversation. To be honest, I thought it was a pretty bad date, but by the end of it, just because it was me talking the whole time and laughing at my own jokes, LOL. I love that for you. If you can make yourself laugh. Okay. So I felt like he really wasn't interested, and I felt no connection or chemistry at all. I feel like you can tell on the first date, usually, with like just the flow of the conversation. So, because I keep seeing that in some of these stories. Okay. I left the date feeling like he for sure wasn't going to talk to me again. But then he texted me saying, sorry, that he was a bit quiet and that he was really nervous. But he wanted to go on another date with me because he really liked me a lot. And I kind of felt bad, and I liked how he straight up told me he liked me and was interested in me, so I decided to give him a second date. So we went to eat. This time no conversation was going on. I honestly don't understand why he wanted to go out with me because we clearly had no connection at all. Girl, he just liked looking at your pretty face. He was he was too nervous to speak. We then went to the pool and he was just standing there the whole time. My friends tried to make conversation with him, but he was so short answered, so we just kind of left him there. Important side note, when we left the pool, he had no towel and I had an extra one, so I let him have it. When I got home, he texted me that he had a really fun time and that he really liked all my friends. After that, I felt really bad, but I wasn't interested in him and got a really weird vibe from him. So I decided to ghost him, in parentheses, which I know is really bad, but I just don't know how to handle rejection with people, so I just ghost them. Anyways, after that, he started spam texting me like every day with texts like, "Hey, I know you're ghosting me. I know you're ghosting me, but can we meet to give you your towel back?" And then, "Hey, I really like you a lot. Can we please go on another date? Hey, you don't have to be a bitch. I'm sorry. Can I please give you your towel your towel back?" This man was going through a mix of emotions when he was texting you. Okay. And stuff like that. He would insult me and then say sorry and then reminded me about my towel, lol. So I blocked him and then he started finding my other social medias and requesting me like Facebook and Snap. Even though I was clearly not interested anymore, to be honest, I got scared at one point that he was going to show up to my house. Anyways, I know I was in the wrong for ghosting him, but he was really scary afterwards and I learned to not date random people after that. See, I think it's okay to ghost people like when you're barely getting to know each other. I think you would get the hint that the other person's not interested. I know it's still ugly because, at the end of the day, you kind of want to know, like, why. But how do you go from reaching out to someone, sounding desperate, and then insulting them? Make it make sense. But anyways, thank you for sharing. I think this was a very interesting day. It's it sounded like it was going somewhere, but then clearly he was just being a baby. But he did get ghosted, so I don't know. Maybe it was a little valid, but not him calling you a bitch. Not at all. No. Okay, guys. So we are on to our last story. This is also a good one. Honestly, they've all been fun to read, really, guys. Thank you so much for sending these. Even though I asked you with pretty please if you could share. But here we go. So my first official date was the beginning of my junior year of high school. I had been on dates before, but wasn't really allowed to date until then. I met this guy at a sports meet and never thought anything of it. I received a text 2 days after from a random number, which was him, asking me out, saying he got my number from a friend. He was from a different school, an hour away, and I completely forgot what he looked like. I tried looking at socials for him and nothing. That is so real. Hopping on social media, so just to make sure you're like, oh, está guapo or no. So I decided, sure, why not? However, he wanted to meet 45 minutes away in the city for the date. So I brought my friends and they did their own thing close-ish by. Unfortunately, when this guy got off the train, he was so... I'm assuming you meant ugly because you put Ugo, but I'm pretty sure you mean ugly. He was so ugly. Wearing white skinny jeans and smelled mega strong of cologne. Hey girl, he was just trying to make an impression. The minute I saw the red hair, I thought, damn, red hair, red flag. I should jump back on the train, but it was too late. He had seen me. So I cried in my head and was very polite and introduced myself. However, this was not the guy I was thinking of from the meet. It was his friend I was thinking of. Did you text a friend? I'm just asking. He ended up taking me to TGI Fridays. The date was awkward as all he talked about was video games and his broken family. I mean, how do I respond to those things? After he wanted to continue that date, so I was a pushover and went roller skating. Big mistake. He was falling all over the place. It was embarrassing. Thank goodness you haven't been roller skating with me because I'm an embarrassment too. Anyways, after going around the place about 4 times, we went against the wall. He leaned in for a kiss, and I dodged the hell out of... He leaned in for a kiss, and I dodged the hell out of it. He got kind of upset and I told him I needed to go. I pulled off my skates and left him there in the place. I went to the train station to meet my friends and tell them how awful it was. Dang, that's crazy. Awful. They were nice, but laughed a little. We all ended up getting a sweet treat after that to end an extremely bad day. Skip to the next day when I received a text of 4 paragraphs from this guy. Damn, girl, you really imprinted on his heart. This text was rather graphic and pathetic, to be honest. He went on about how I wasn't even interesting and he doesn't care anyway, but because last week he effed a dude in the backseat of his car, so he'll switch sides again. Needless to say, I blocked him. All in all, kids, don't go on blind dates. He just sounded insecure by then. I know it's been a couple of years, so maybe, who knows, maybe the man matured a little bit, but that's crazy. How I just don't get it. Like, it's okay to be rejected once in a while. It really is. I know it sucks, but it's part of life. I don't know. That's what I think. Okay, so I'm pretty sure that was my last story. My roommate just got here. So that was my last story. I had fun reading them. They're all so different and funny and interesting and awkward, but I mean, I guess that's just life. But I think to end this episode, I'm gonna share with you guys how I met Seth in our first date. So this was my freshman year of college, and my friends and we had gone to a basketball game, and then later on we went to go eat Brahms. If you're from El Paso, and I know I haven't heard from Brahms until I moved out here. But anyways, so we went to Brahms, we all got Happy Meals, and in these Happy Meals, not Happy Meals, kids meals, in these kids meals, there was stickers of dogs, and I got a Yorkie. So I was like, hey girls, wouldn't it be funny to write our phone number and stick it on a random ass door? They said yes. So I write my phone number, whatever. We head back to the dorms, and I go to the floor above me where I lived. And I remember I saw the door, and I was like, this door looks sad. So I stick my doggy sticker on the door, hoping for the best. And that was that. The next morning, one of my friends, she lived across us. She comes in knocking and she's like, hey, the guy texted me. It was super chill, whatever. And then the other one was like, oh, like, I haven't gotten anything yet. And then as soon as we're talking about it, I get a phone call. I was just rise and shine, guys. It was 11. I had late classes and everything, so I didn't care about waking up early. I get a phone call. Hey, I saw your number on my door. And I was like, oh, hi. I was like, did you like my sticker and everything? He's like, yeah, well, I just thought I would call and everything. And then I asked for his name, and then he asked for mine, and then he was like, huh? I was like, oh, this man does not speak Spanish. So, anyways, I ended the call, and I was like, oh, well, like, thank you for calling and being respectful, whatever. And then I look at my friends, and I was like, he sounds cute. I'm gonna text him. So I did. I texted him, and I was like, hey, like, thank you for being very nice and everything. We just did this thing last night. We thought it would be funny, and I only put one sticker out there. And he's like, there's no way, like, it was just my door. And I was like, yeah, like, it was just very random. So we keep texting, and but like, we did not know like, I didn't know what he looked like. He didn't know what I looked like. And then later on, he asked for my snap, and I was like, oh, I know why he wants my snap. So, we snapped, and I was like, holy moly, he's cute. And I'm pretty sure he thought I was cute because we talked for 2 weeks straight, snapping and texting, and we had not bumped. Keep in mind, we lived in the dorms. He lived in the fourth floor, I lived in the fourth floor, and he lived in the fourth floor, I lived in the fifth floor, in the same building. And I had never seen this man. He had never seen me. We had never bumped into each other. And then it just happens to be that this one night I was going out with some friends, and his frat was having what do you call it, mixer at Lux, no, at Lit, at the bar Lit. So we met there. That wasn't really like us going on a first date. It was just like we met and we talked. But keep in mind, it was kind of hard because we were at a bar. So we were just talking, and he was very sweet, and he was gonna buy me a drink, but I was scared he was gonna spike my drink. So I kept insisting on I would buy his drink, but no, I was literally watching him the whole time when he was getting my drink. Um, and then probably a few days later, he asked me to go out to eat in Guadalajara. So it's a Mexican restaurant, so good. We talked, we really vibed and everything. And yeah, 3 years later, we are still together and we live together with two children, aka Mo and Ella. But I think that's enough of me yapping, you guys. My throat is hurting and the light is like. But, anyways, if y'all enjoyed this episode, if y'all enjoyed this type of content, please let me know down below in the comments. Did we miss Seth? Because I know I can talk forever and ever. I just wanted to put out an episode for you guys, and I thought this would be fun without it getting boring. Anyways, thank you so much if you decided to stick around. Make sure to like, subscribe, follow our TikTok at 2Peas, TWOOPEASS, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.